So Genji Akutami, the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen, had an interview recently where he discussed various things about the series. Some things pretty interesting and some things kind of problematic. So before I get into the things he says, let me just point out that there's hardcore spoilers in this video, and not just for what hasn't happened in the anime, but also for things that haven't even happened in the manga yet. So there's your warning. First of all, let me just say that this is not an official translation, and maybe some things aren't exactly verbatim what he said, but more or less it's kind of getting the point across, I suppose. But let's start with the things that I talk about in the title of the video. And first, that's going to be the end date of the series. So he says Jujutsu Kaisen might reach its conclusion in about 2 years' time. Akutami stated that we've reached the halfway point already. He already has plans for a lot of characters. He gave the year 2023 to be more specific. So this is bittersweet, of course, because, you know, nobody really wants their series to end. I mean, of course, everything needs to come to an end eventually, but I don't know, it just seems like this is a little soon, in my opinion. I understand that not all series can be how the big three used to be. You know, with Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, all, you know, surpassing 500 chapters. I get that things are changing, and it seems like all of the big shonens are, you know, not really gonna be that long anymore, and, you know, it's whatever. But like I said, you know, it's just bittersweet, especially now that Jujutsu Kaisen has finally got some major traction, and I guess you could consider it one of the new big three. But of course, you know, he says might, and I also saw another translation where he says, like, if everything goes according to plan. And it's not uncommon for mangakas to give deadlines and things like this, only for them to not be exactly accurate. So maybe 2023 is the ending of it, or maybe 2024. Regardless, we probably still have at least, you know, 100 or a little more chapters to go, which is, you know, not too bad. It could be worse. And as for him saying we've reached the halfway point of the series, I could totally see that, and honestly, I kind of felt that at the end of the Shibuya arc. But going more into the end, he also says he already has a concrete plan about Megumi and Itadori's fates. In terms of Sukuna, it's still unclear, but he explains why Sukuna didn't kill Megumi. It was censored, so it will probably be explained in the manga soon. So that's pretty interesting. Fushiguro and Yuji's fates were already determined from the start, and it's understandable since those are like the two main characters. So it makes sense that he would already have them fleshed out entirely from like the beginning of writing the story. But what's really interesting is how he's unclear about Sukuna. You'd figured that he'd also maybe already have his whole story mapped out, but the fact that he doesn't is kind of intriguing. And of course, the big question of like, why is Sukuna interested in Fushiguro? Why did he keep him alive? What are his plans for him? But then the thing about it will probably be explained in the manga soon. I don't know if that is something he said. This seems like maybe something the translator is assuming here. But either way, I'm on board with it coming out sooner or later. I mean, I figured that that would be more so like, you know, towards the very end of the series, you know, the last stretch of like 30 chapters or something. But if it happens sooner than that, I guess that's fine, because I always expected Sukuna and like his ultimate goal to be the final part of the series anyway, right? So now let's go into the other thing I listed in the title of the video, and that's Yuji's false memories, or should I say lack thereof, because he says the false memories of Todo and Choso wasn't because of Yuji's abilities. There are different reasons for this. When Gege wrote this, he didn't really think about it. To add to this, Gege wasn't actually aware of the similarities until people brought it up. So this is like blowing my mind. I'm not saying I'm like disappointed or mad or anything about it. It's just surprising to hear that, because I recently made a video about Yuji's false memories and how it's very interesting in the similarities and how it, you know, could be a possible ability and everything. But to hear him say that he wasn't aware of the similarities until people brought it up kind of like dispels some of the aura around Gege, at least in my opinion. And just, I don't know, the overall writing ability of like mangakas in general, not saying they're bad, but maybe we shouldn't be looking into things so much anymore and giving these mangakas so much credit that we do. And I know the word genius gets thrown around so much in these communities, but I don't know, this is just a little disheartening. Again, I'm not mad that Yuji doesn't have false memories or that ability or anything. It's not really like a make or break thing in my opinion. opinion, but it's just the fact that it's not really a thing at all and he wasn't even aware of the similarities. Now, there's the possibility that he's just straight up trolling here, and that would be pretty funny if he was, and maybe he's just trying to throw the community off the scent because they figured it out possibly. But I also really wouldn't be surprised if what he's saying here is 100% the truth. And as for Choso, I guess that means maybe Yuji is some kind of cursed womb or something like that. I don't know. I mean, obviously there's big significance behind Yuji's origin and his parents and everything. So I guess that plays into this whole little storyline here maybe. So now let's go into Nanami and Nobara. So for Nanami, Gege had originally only planned for him to lose an arm. He didn't expect him to die. However, he experienced the phenomenon of characters taking their own life, and it actually felt good to follow and take that path. So take this for what you will. Going back to what I was just talking about, how he could possibly be trolling with him talking about the false memories thing, this also kind of sounds like some kind of trolling. But again, you know, maybe he's not. Maybe this is just him being genuine. But this is like a weird thing to say, right? I mean, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, if there is no levity behind this, then it's like kind of strange. But the strangeness doesn't end there, because as for Nobara, she canonically died when Mahito hit her with their technique, but whether she is alive or dead remains up in the air. Her suffering the loss of her eye was all done for Yuji to despair. So I don't know, more pseudo trolling here. I mean, we're back at square one with Nobara, regardless of what he's saying here, because it was always kind of like that anyway. I was always kind of leaning towards the side of her maybe making it out of this, but I don't know, we also do, for the most part, get her backstory, or the most of it, before she does die, so maybe she is dead and it's just for Yuji to despair. Honestly, I just don't know right now. It's legitimately like a 50-50 chance. Akutami wants to reveal the last third year Hakari, but his plans for him might be difficult enough to cause backlash. It's related to the name. So I looked up the name Hakari, of course, and apparently this word is coming from New Zealand, and it means a feast which follows a ceremonial funeral or other important occasion. So does that mean that Hakari is dead? Because that would certainly cause some backlash, right? This guy kind of being built up to be on the same tier as like a Kotsu or somewhere around there, and it just turns out that like, oh yeah, he's dead actually. So yeah, don't worry about him anymore. That would kind of suck, but it's whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry if this upset anyone or, you know, dampened your spirits on the series or anything, but man, sometimes it just be like that. But all we can really do is just try to enjoy the time that we have left with it and make the best of it, I suppose. But if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.